Shane Gillis has been under fire recently. He's one of the most popular comedians out there. He's one of the hottest comedians out there right now. And Shane Gillis previously got fired from SNL for jokes that they tried to cancel him for. And now Shane Gillis is actually returning to host on SNL. And they're trying to cancel him, of course, once again for those same jokes that were racist and homophobic and all the other buzzwords that they love to use. In this video, we have Tim Pool reacting to it on Timcast, reacting to Shane Gillis returning to SNL to host after being fired back in 2019 for these resurfaced jokes. And like I said, of course, they're trying to re-cancel him as Shane Gillis is rehired to host SNL, or at least maybe it's just a one-off host, but he got fired from SNL. And now, ironically, 5 years later, I can't believe how time has flown, but 5 years later, now that Shane Gillis is the hottest comedian out there right now, he's being rehired and re-canceled at the same time. And it's great that people like Dave Chappelle and Shane Gillis and the rest of these guys are just standing up to the mob and saying, I don't care if you cancel me. You know, I'm a comedian. I tell jokes about all people of all races, sexual orientation. Doesn't matter. I don't care. So shout out to people like Shane Gillis. Let's check out Tim Pool on Timcast reacting to this Shane Gillis news and reacting to the leftist media meltdown of Shane Gillis hosting this SNL coming up.
Let's jump to, with a hard segue, to some cultural news, because this one's awesome. Shane Gillis is going to be hosting SNL on Saturday. And this is important for all of you because he was fired by Saturday Night Live in 2019 for surfaced jokes he had made on podcasts many years prior, where I think he did like an Asian accent and he made what they called homophobic jokes. So SNL said, "You're fired. You can't work here anymore." Now, considering many see him as the up and coming star in the comedy circuit, one of the funniest comedians in the world, SNL asked him to host. And once again, the woke machine is trying to cancel him. But oh, it's so funny. It's not working. NBC News writes, with Shane Gillis' return to SNL, Asians ask when they'll stop being the punchline. I just love this so much.
Real quick, I'm not going to interrupt him too much here, but why are Asians asking when they'll stop being the punchline? Literally every race is the punchline. Like it's funny to make racist jokes, to make racial jokes. It's just funny. So why are, like, I don't even think Asians are asking this. I don't think any Asians out there is like, why is Shane Gillis hosting SNL? When will I stop being the punchline? Like, nobody's saying that. It's just white people saying that Asians are saying that. Like, I guarantee you a white person wrote this. And like most, like 99.9% of white people out there don't actually care when white people are the punchline, when Asians, when black people, it doesn't matter to anybody when they're the punchline. But this white person just feels the need to have an absolute meltdown because they're a leftist and they don't like Shane Gillis not following their rules. So they're saying that Asians are asking when they'll stop being the punchline. It's just ridiculous, man.
I don't count. Everybody knows that. I don't count. But, if I were to agree with them, I would. So first, I'll say, I agree with the woke left on discrimination and all that stuff. Now, as officially an Asian person, because I agreed with you, don't forget, I'm not asking this question at all. Quite literally don't care if he does an Asian accent. People do it all the time. I'm not going to cry and whinge about South Park. In fact, I love the City Walk guy. He's great. We all love him. It turns out he's a white guy the whole time. Did you guys ever watch that one?
No.
It turns out the City Walk guy was like the Chinese guy at the Chinese food restaurant.
So it was okay that Shane Gillis made fun of it then, right?
He didn't make fun of that, but it turned out, the South Park guys...
Canonically,
he's actually a white guy who's got like, what is he, like schizophrenic or something?
I think there are like levels of comedianship that you get to where you're no longer canceled. Like Dave Chappelle, like some guys are so awesome that it's just like you let them say whatever. And Shane's one of those guys.
The thing is, any comedian or any person who's not working like a corporate job or someone who doesn't work for somebody else is uncancelable. The only reason why you could be canceled today is, number one, if you allow yourself to, and number two, if you work for somebody else who allows you to be canceled. So let's say that somebody who works a normal 9-to-5 job were to say these same jokes, then they could get fired from their job, and they don't have control over that. They can't just say, no, I'm not fired, you're going to continue to pay me. But someone like Shane Gillis or Dave Chappelle or anyone else who doesn't have a boss, they can say whatever they want, and as long as they don't bow down to the mob and say, I'm sorry and apologize and I was wrong for this, as long as they don't do that, then they won't get canceled. So yeah, I always talk about, and Luke and Tim Pool here are talking about how Shane Gillis and Dave Chappelle and all these guys are uncancelable because they're so big and they're so funny and all these things, right? But in reality, everybody's uncancelable as long as they don't have a boss and as long as they don't bow down and apologize to the mob.
Financially secure, right? I mean, that's part of it. You're able to say whatever because you risk less. I just listened to Shane Gillis's podcast with Theo Vaughn, and I don't follow his stand-up very much, so I don't know what he's like normally, but it was definitely interesting during the episode hearing him be like, oh, you got to be careful. Like, you're not supposed to say stuff like that. It seems like cancel culture has definitely had an effect on him.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe it's a confidence boost to be able to go back on a show that fired you over something you had, you couldn't take back and you kind of had no control over.
I mean, that really made his career, though, to be honest. And I know that he recognizes that, too. But it's funny you bring up that particular podcast if anyone wants to go watch it, because Theo Vaughn brings up a lot of points about this exact thing within the whole comedy world, and it's and this whole being canceled by people that don't even really care about what you do and don't even like the stuff that you're putting on the world in the first place.
They're not going to drop him from hosting.
No,
I'm willing to bet then when I bet he's got a contractual agreement.
Yeah.
I bet they were like, we want you to host, and he was like, okay, but you can't cancel, because people are going to be pissed, and they're like, no, we get it. There's no way SNL did not know. This is we are winning so massively that SNL is now doing a turnaround. Remember, didn't they fire Norm Macdonald?
Yeah.
There was some other moment where he and then he hosted and he was like, I got fired from the show for not being funny. Yeah, he's amazing.
Great.
Look at this. This is the collapse of woke dominance in the media.
I have to agree. Let me know in the comments if you agree, but I have to agree with Tim Pool here and the rest of the Tim cast, I guess is what you call them. I have to agree, man. There definitely is a shift going on. And like I said, I've said this in a ton of other videos, it definitely is a shift going on with the common person. Now the real shift is going to happen whenever things like this start happening, where an SNL is starting to accept, okay, people are not watching us anymore. We're not making money anymore because we're not funny. We're just pushing a certain agenda. We don't allow people to actually speak their minds or make jokes that anyone finds funny because they might offend the wrong person. So we have to make a shift here if we're actually going to continue having SNL be a thing, or we're just going to go under because we're not making any money. So that's when the real shift is going to start happening, when companies like Bud Light realize, oh, we messed up, and they just recently hired Shane Gillis to do some promo, and they're hiring other anti-woke people to do promo after the whole Dylan Mulvaney incident. And then SNL is hiring Shane Gillis, who's an anti-woke guy who's been canceled a million times, being canceled currently, and they're not backing out. SNL is not apologizing, Shane Gillis isn't apologizing, and that's when the real shift is going to start happening, is when these large corporations start to say, this woke stuff was cool and all while it paid the bills, but it's not paying the bills anymore, because the common man, the common person out there is just, they're tired of this stuff, man. They're tired of that woke stuff. They're tired of this cancel culture stuff. Let's see. This guy says it does feel like a shift has occurred. There seems to be much more of a pushback for sure. And this person says, no, it isn't, because I guess he's saying, no, that the shift isn't happening. There's a ton of people out there who are saying the shift isn't happening. So a ton of people out there saying this shift is happening. For me personally, I can just see it, in everyday life. I talk to friends who I haven't talked to in a while, and they'll say stuff like that. It's just everybody that I talk to, in the current day, you just go on about my life, they'll bring this stuff up. I try not to bring it up because you get me started on this stuff, and I'm not going to stop. I'm just going to talk your ear off about it. But whenever other people bring it up to me, because they know that I do YouTube videos and they know that I think this way, they'll bring it up to me randomly. And it's people who I never thought in a million years would ever be on my side of things. And they all are on my side of things. They all are saying, dude, yeah, we need Trump in office. And dude, I have friends who literally went to, I don't even, like the voting places, right? And campaigned for people to vote for Biden back in 2020. Like I literally have friends who did that. And they're begging for Donald Trump to be in office because of what's happening right now. Like, I mean, it doesn't get much worse than that, right? Going to the actual places that you vote and telling people to vote for Joe Biden, and now you're begging for Donald Trump to be elected. I mean, if that doesn't signify a shift that's happening, I don't know what does. But like I said, the real shift is going to happen when stuff like this is happening. When SNL is saying, we can't keep doing this. We can't keep going down this woke path because it's not going to pay the bills. We're not going to make money like this. So we have to go get people like Shane Gillis. We have to go get people who are actually funny. Whether or not we offend certain people is irrelevant. We have to pay the bills. And that's what, corporations like Bud Light, SNL, and the rest of them are doing. So let me know in the comments if you agree with Tim Pool here and the rest of the people on this Timcast podcast that there is a major shift happening. This is the collapse of woke dominance in the media, is what Tim Pool had to say in this clip. Let me know if you agree with that. If you did enjoy the video, please leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I hope to see you in the next one.